everybody. I don't see TJ here just yet. I'm just making sure he didn't message me or anything. So I assume he'll be here in a little bit. If not, I'll ping him. But um, welcome to the next edition of Horror on TV, where TJ and I are hopefully going to be talking about Creepshow Season 2, Part 1. We're going to cover the first 5 segments. Hey, Kathy. And I'm going to go ahead, hey, Blissful, and get started talking about some things that I got in and doing a little housekeeping stuff. That might be why TJ's a little bit later because he knows that I do this stuff every time. So I got my Vistaprint order in today, and I was very pleased with how the stuff turned out that I got. So just on a whim, I got a mouse pad that didn't turn out too bad. Um, I got one pen, and I was really pleased with these. I got the postcard size advertising for my channel. And then if you flip it over on the other side, it says, "Thank you for your support. Deadites on deck." Um, and then I got these little gems because the postcard size jobbies were a little on the expensive side, so I only got 25 of those. But I got 100 of these little business card size ones that I can, take to conventions and stuff with me and put on those tables where everybody advertises. So I just wanted to talk about or show those off before we got started. So tomorrow night, just to let you know what's coming up for the rest of the week, tomorrow night, Darren should be on here with me for Seductive Poison, The Resurgence. We're going to be talking about a couple of movies that he chose for me to review as one of his perks for joining the channel. So as I say, you get some cool perks. If you ask Wes, he'd probably say not as cool as Dead Pit's perks, but whatever. So we got that coming up. Friday's another midday with Dana and Jay. I have no idea what we're going to be talking about, so it might just be a throw anything at the wall and see what sticks kind of show. But one thing I am sure of, it will be entertaining. As it always is when me and TJ or me and Jay or whoever gets together on these things. So, Blizzle, you say you absolutely love the stuff. I'm pretty happy with it too. And Kathy says I love all your marketing materials. Well, thank you, ladies. Appreciate that. I did make the design. I just didn't do the printing. Somebody else did the printing for me. Hey, Super Batman Nerd. So the watch-alongs and the movie munchies for this weekend. So we've got a couple of watch-alongs coming up this weekend. And my brain being the way it is, I've already forgot. But Saturday is Splatter University starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Not a good film by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a fun and entertaining film, in my opinion. Sunday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be Revenge of the Nerds. So we got a comedy film coming up on Sunday. The movie Munchies will be a Carrie-inspired recipe this time, taken from the Death for Dinner book that Candace sent to me. We're going to be making tomato soup, homemade tomato soup with grilled cheese. And I'm going to try to get a metal bucket to put the tomato soup in. So I'm going to go ahead and add TJ here real quickly. Hey, TJ.
How's it going?
Good. So, what do you think of my promotional material? You got any comments or?
I wasn't paying attention, so
That's okay.
I
It's
don't know
okay.
what the hell it was. So it was great.
I'll take that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So, as I said when I first got on here, me and TJ are going to be I can't talk. Talking about the first 5 segments. You can't really call them episodes. You have to call them something else because technically 2 segments make up one episode, right,
Yeah,
TJ?
it's one episode with 2 segments. It's
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started talking about the first one, which is Model Kid. That was directed by Greg Nicotero. It was written by John Esposito, and I'm not really. DJ, are you familiar with any of the people except maybe Kevin Dillon, but everybody else I'm not familiar with the names.
no, I have no idea who they are.
Which is going to happen from time to time. They're going to mix new people in here with more well established actors and actresses. So, um,
Yeah, they don't look familiar.
so I like. First off, I'd like to say I liked the Model Kid episode. I thought it was kind of like a coming of age thing in a small, like in short form, and it wasn't like a movie like Stand By Me, but it had that feel to it. And then, of course, you had uh, the very mean and spiteful uncle in here,
Yeah.
who's going to come into play. But I'm going to go ahead and let TJ start talking about Model Kid.
Yeah, so it's very depressing. The mother dies of cancer, so it's a Disney movie. So, and I'm like, great, mother's dying of cancer. That's all I want to see. It's so fun. Uh,
Yeah, I had forgotten about that till I actually went back and rewatched this one. I was like, "Oh, that's a bummer."
so the kid likes, he likes model kits. I guess he's supposed to be in the 50s, but it doesn't seem like it's set in the 50s. But he does those old model kits, and he likes model kits and horror movies. And his mother watching horror movies together on this old projector. Um, anyway, she dies. Before she dies, her is it her brother or is it her
It's her sister, and then
oh,
her sister's
her sister's husband? Right, right, right. He's
married
out
to
of
a
a job. He's
douchebag.
a deadbeat loser.
Mhm.
Like most. That's another thing too. I think this is sort of another episode that they've already had the deadbeat
Uh,
family member.
yeah,
I'm like, can we come up with something more original, people? Only season 2, but yeah. Anyway, he his um, through some kind of weird magic, I guess his the monsters he likes come to life.
hmm
Um, um, and I mean, I like the story part, and I like the acting as far as Kevin Dillon. Like, he plays a great asshole.
yeah, he does.
And then his wife, the sister of the kid's mother, um, she's not really. She's like one of those abused wives. It's kind of like
Mm.
letting him get away with stuff because she's too weak to kind of um, do things on her own. So the kid and his creatures basically, so Kevin Dillon gets ripped apart basically, which is
Yeah.
very satisfying. Um, oh, by the way, the kid is his last name is Aurora, which I think that's a reference to the Aurora model kits.
Oh, yeah. I bet it
I
is.
think that's what they were yeah, that I think that's
I
what they were,
believe you're right.
which would make sense to the story and the title of the story and everything. Yeah, and he's basically attacked by, I forget, was it Yeah, it's like Frankenstein, and yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's those classic monsters.
But yeah, so Kevin Dillon's he's like, oh, this kid, he just likes movies. He should be doing real. He should be working and doing real stuff. And
And it's like, what are you doing, dude? You're just lazing around the
well,
house
that's
all
what the
day.
kid says. He's like, you don't have a job yourself. You just do nothing and live off of whatever money that is left from the mother dying. Um, and then he makes him like he makes him do gardening, and I'm like, you want him to be manly, but you're having him do gardening? What? Not to say that gardening's not something, but like that's all they can think of too. That's another like
To
level
make him
of like,
do.
is that all you can think of for the kid to do for chores is gardening? Who cares? It's not like they said, hey, this is what we do for food. That would have made sense. But anyway, yeah, Kevin Dillon dies because he gets ripped apart by the monsters. At first, he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean it. Spare me." And the kid's like, "Yeah, fuck you."
Yeah.
And then I think it's like
So
there's
so
a funeral, right? Isn't there a funeral?
I there was
I can't remember
I
now.
thought maybe there was a funeral for the mother, but I don't think there
Well, I
was a.
know that, but
Uh,
yeah.
but I don't. I think the final scene was just the aunt coming home and
Oh, that he left.
her.
Like they kicked him
Yeah, he's
out
kind
or
of
whatever.
like. It's kind of like the
Okay.
end of the creep show, the first creep show movie, where he basically uses the voodoo doll on his dad who threw away his comic book
Yeah.
and slapped him. So that's what I thought it was, similar to. And also, I don't know if you brought this up or not, TJ, but he buys a model kit, and he basically uses that model kit on his uncle. Like he dresses him up like his uncle and stuff, and he like can like break his leg or pull him apart or whatever, or have the other monsters, pull him apart. But
All right. So that's another thing too. It's another voodoo kind of thing. It's not even
yeah,
like okay, we've done this before, season one. Um, uh, oh,
TJ's getting bored with it already because they're not
and he
being.
gets the kid. He gets attacked by a version of the creature from the Black Lagoon, which it reminds me more of like it's like a cross between the Monster Squad creature and the one from Saturday the 14th.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it's
get it. I just looked at it now. The aunt comes home from her shift at the
yeah.
restaurant where she works. I think she works at Beekman's Diner. I think that was a reference during the episode,
Oh yeah.
which is like, oh, that's from Night of the Living Dead.
Hmm.
Also, her name is Barb. So
Yeah.
Barb,
Yeah.
which I think is
Exactly.
also
Yeah.
a reference to Night of the Living Dead. So Barb works at the Beekman's Diner. I thought that's kind of clever. Um, but yeah, yeah, she comes home and there's blood all over the place, and she runs up to the kid, and it's sort of like the end of like the Twilight Zone. Whether it's I forget it's the movie or the episode where the Billy Mooney where he's the sends kids to the cornfield. It's kind of like you better be nice to me or I'll kill you too
Oh
kind of thing. But it's a
yeah.
little bit something more not as devious because he likes his aunt. So I mean,
Hmm. But his aunt is just horrified, though. She's just like it kind of freezes on her and then him, like with that creepy grin on his face.
yeah. And then there's like there's the model kit with his uncle cut in half and it's all bloody and too.
Hmm.
But yeah. So yeah, that's that episode.
So, other than like, I don't think you all out hated it, right, TJ? You just
It's
thought
just
it
kind
was
of repetitive that we've already seen this. It's
repetitive.
like
Yeah.
you know, it wasn't like I said. The acting's good, and I liked the concept, and the creatures were fun.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean,
But they could have been a little bit more original with it.
yeah,
Come on, John Esposito, you could have written something more original for it.
I mean it's fun, but like I said, it's if you've already seen this stuff, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I've seen it before, especially when it's a short, story, and we've already the season before we kind of already had this. So I mean,
Right. Um, so I guess we'll move on to public television of the dead, which me being the huge Evil Dead fan
yeah,
that
if you
I
don't love
am.
this episode, I don't know what to do with you.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love this, and I saw it first time around, but there were some things that I picked up on again, picking up these little things here and there, just like TJ was talking about the Aurora model kits and the Beekman's Diner and her being named Barb and all of that. So this definitely had, it had some more overt Evil Dead references and it had some more subtle ones. For instance, this is a public television station, so they have like this Bob Ross kind of dude that's painting, and guess what he's painting in the opening scene? He's painting a cabin that looks suspiciously like the Evil Dead cabin.
Beat you over the head. This is reference Evil Dead, you sons of bitches, is what it is. But it's fun. So I mean, you're
Yeah, it's
expecting this from this episode, especially. So it's like, I mean, it's basically the Evil Dead, but it's public television of the dead. So I mean, it's like
yeah,
we add
exactly.
more words to the beginning of the.
So you have the Necronomicon, you have the Deadites. We all know what happens when they read passages from the Necronomicon. Something bad always happens, and somebody gets turned into a Deadite, or multiple people get turned into Deadites. And then I, ju- I just had to think about this though. How many people behind the scenes, and by this I'm talking about Miss Bookberry, who does a children's show and she reads them stories and she's got a little teddy bear puppet that she uses and she seems so nice and
Creepy ass
sweet.
puppet. That puppet is so creepy
It is creepy. But as soon as she's off camera, she's bitching everybody out.
because she's a bitch. I
Yeah,
mean,
she is the ultimate bitch. But so I had to wonder how many people behind the scenes are like that. They're nicey nice on camera and then they're just completely bitchy behind the camera and take advantage of everybody and all that. Um, yes, the poet, I do have 777 subscribers right now. And I thank you, Kathy, for saying please like the stream and share. And hi, Davey. I hadn't seen Davey for a little bit, but now he's back. But I'm going to turn it back over to TJ so he can start talking about public television of the dead.
yeah. So we basically went over it. This station. This woman's like she's got some kid show, um, and
Isn't
she's
it in Pittsburgh as well, which would be a Romero?
yeah. It says
Rep?
Channel 13 Pittsburgh on like one of the doors, so it's very like I don't know if that was mentioned in any of the movies, but it's definitely um, WQPS. I didn't look any of that up, so I don't know if that's directly referencing stuff. So anyway, she takes over the time slot for the Bob Ross dude, who's
Mm-hmm.
the very cheerful, um, accepts everything as it is, and he's very like calm. He's like, okay, I'm losing my job. Can I do? He's like, can I have one last show? And they're like, yeah, of course, you're great. And
Yeah,
then
it's like, how can you be so calm, dude? But of course, he'd live longer than everybody else, probably.
and the poor producer woman, she's just like she's trying to um, do the right thing, and the other lady, the bitchy lady, she's like nope, my show is what people want, so that other guy has to go. um, I think she's like my favorite character out of um, the
Oh,
whole
oh,
episode.
Miss Bookberry.
So Ted Raimi shows up with the Book of the Dead on one
Yeah.
of those shows where oh, is that worth something, my
Hmm.
antique book or whatever, and
Like Antique Roadshow or something like that.
and the guy opens up the book, starts reading the passages. Everybody gets possessed.
Mm.
Um, Ted Raimi's playing Ted Raimi. He gets
Yeah.
possessed. Yeah, it's basically Evil Dead shenanigans that going on through the episode. A lot of gore, a lot of it's more like Evil Dead 2. It's more goofy. Um, eventually, Bob Ross, because um, the reason the Bob Ross dude is so calm is because he was in Vietnam. So now he's sort of with being in war, he wants to be more calm. But now he's back in the war again because they have to fight off all the Deadites.
Right.
Um, by the way, Ted Raimi's looking really old in this episode. I don't know.
Well, he ain't no spring chicken anymore.
2021, so it makes sense. But it's just like could they have done a better lighting? Maybe made him made him look a little bit better.
I just wanted to bring up too. There is a character called Goodman Tappert, which anybody that
Okay.
knows the Evil Dead lore knows
Robert.
that Rob Tappert
Yep.
was a producer on the films.
Yeah. Anyway, Ted Raimi got to float around, and he didn't have to have like a big fat suit on and sweat his ass off. So that was pretty good. Oh, actually, when he's on it's appraiser's road trip, and if you look in the background, there's like a Michael Myers mask,
Oh
um,
yeah, right. Yeah.
and there's little stuff all around if you look for it. Um, yeah. Oh, and instead of join us, because it's sort of like it's a public television station, so they're like pledged to us, which I
Yeah.
think is
Oh yeah, that's right.
because pledging is a big. That's how you keep PBS going. You keep pledging some work. So anyway, yeah, the road trip, the Bob Ross guy, he becomes like the Terminator, and they all sort of fight back.
Hmm.
Like I said, it's the producer woman, the Bob Ross dude, and then there's another dude. Um, the bitchy woman, obviously, she gets possessed. And she gets her head cut off, I think. So that's
She
like
does get possessed really good. I will say that.
the her puppet gets possessed too, which I think is funny. And they're like pledge to the book, which I think is a nice running joke. Yeah, and she gets her head cut off, which I think the evil bitch, which is like that's perfect. You want that to happen.
Right.
I think the set it may not be the cabin specifically, but it reminds me of the cabin.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because it's like a small one room kind of thing.
Hmm.
It's a different version of the Necronomicon, as in it's like they made their own kind of copy of it. Um, actually, in this cute little stuff around, if you look at it like this, so the woman, her show was like a kid's show. So at the end, if you look at all, like there's like cutouts of little kids and they all have white eyes, which I think is
Yeah.
a nice reference to Evil Dead. So yeah, this is a fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a very fun episode. Even if I wasn't a big, huge Evil Dead fan, I think this episode would have been fun. But because I was,
Yeah.
I think I was just like not scrutinizing, but I was looking for all these little aha moments in it. I'd like to go back and watch it again and see if there's anything I missed.
Oh, and there's a bookend. So at the beginning, there are these two little kids watching the show, and at the end, they show them and their eyes have turned white, so now they're possessed, which is kind of
Yeah,
a cute little button to the episode. Because it ends with everybody sort of like, oh, he's back to Peyton because now his show is the only one there, right? Because everybody else is dead, and they're all smiling behind the scenes, and then we cut to the two kids, and their eyes are all
they
white.
just gradually turn around. They got the white eyes. Um, really, really fun. One of my favorite episodes. Definitely, probably my favorite episode of the second season. I mean, so far out of the ones that I watched for the stream.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be one next week when me and TJ do it that's Survivor type that's based on a Stephen King story. I know I'm going to, like going back and watching that one again. Um, hey, Chris. And Super Batman Nerd says Evil Dead meets Daycare sounds cool as fuck. They should call it Little Evil Bastards.
Well, that would have been cool if it was like little kids getting possessed, but and like going around and like killing people and ripping people apart and getting murdered and stuff. But yeah, it's not as he makes it sound cooler than it would actually. I'd rather see that episode. Would sound better.
So, TJ, anything else you want to say about that episode?
Nope.
Okay. Or that segment, rather. Okay. So the next one is Dead and Breakfast. I enjoyed this one too. Um, so we have Allie Larder and C. Thomas Howell, who I guess they're brother and sister, and they run a what's supposed to be, well, it's called the Spinster House, and their grandmother supposedly was a serial killer who killed people that came to her. I guess, what did they ever say if it was a boarding house or was it a bed and breakfast when the grandma had it? Or
Yeah, it's basically she would have people come and rent a room and she'd murder them. Yeah.
and so even though it had a big concentration of it about uh what do they call them people, influencers or whatever, that go around
Yes,
and
that's what the kids call them, Dana. I know you're one of the older people.
yeah, I am old.
Call influencers, them childrens of the
I
kids. They
I
call them that.
I am an old woman, TJ.
Yeah, but
Anymore,
you know
I'm
what they're
old.
called. Don't go like you don't try to pretend you don't know
Well,
what they're
no,
called.
I wasn't sure. I thought that's what they called them.
Yeah, they call
These
influencers. Yeah.
but anyway, I'm not really big on influencers per se, but the whole episode as a whole was good, even with that in there.
Well, what
But
do you think you are? This is what you're an influencer on
I
YouTube.
don't think I don't
Yeah,
consider
but
myself an
that's the
influencer.
if you were putting this as a on your like resume, it would be influencer.
I would have to do that, huh?
Yeah. Like all the zombies that do whatever the dead pit guys say, they're considered influencers
Yeah,
because.
but I'm not trying to influence anybody though.
But that's what you're doing, though.
Am I?
It's not. Yes, everybody in the chat agree with me. Come on, you're not specifically doing it, but you're influencing people. Like people will watch a movie because you said it, you liked it.
Oh well, not
That's the whole point
everybody
of
though.
rating movies and stuff. You're giving people your opinion. That's what an influencer does.
Okay, well,
Sorry, you're
I
one of
just
them.
I just don't like to think of myself because the influencer has bad connotations for me.
No, it's how you. I mean, politician. That means that has bad connotations, but people still are become politicians.
I don't want to be a politician or an attorney or anything like that.
Well,
'Cause, um, but anyway, I'm gonna let we're gonna get off the influencer track a
Candace
little bit,
agrees, so I'm gonna listen to what Candace.
and yeah, she says I'm a huge influence on her, and Blissful says I am too. You guys are not you're not making a case for me. Uh,
Anyway, let's get back into the episode.
yeah, let's get back to the Dead and Breakfast episode. I'm going to turn it over to TJ. Start talking about this segment here.
Yeah, so Allie Lauder and her brother C. Thomas Howell, Pam and Sam, which I think is kind of stupid, but whatever. Uh, um, so Pam and Sam, their last name is Spencer, which is like okay, ha ha ha. Because their grandmother, the grandmother, right, had owned this bed and breakfast, and she would kill people. So they're trying to use it as an attraction to get people to. So they opened up their own bed and breakfast, but it's a haunted um, uh, experience.
Hmm.
Um,
But nobody wants to come there. They're bored out of their mind,
like
basically.
at the beginning, they have this like family that are there, but they do really cheesy. Like C. Thomas Howell comes out with a fake bloody stump on his head, and it's
And
got
he
a
said,
video on it,
"Oh,
and they know it's fake, and it's just like they're trying, but it's not working. And then they get this influencer woman who um, has heard about them and is like, oh, I kind of like this idea. So she goes there, and she's streaming live with I guess she's on Instagram. Um, I'm pretty sure this wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was Instagram, not TikTok. Anyway, she's live streaming for her fans, and the Spencer brother and sister are like, okay, this is how we're gonna get people to come to our bed and breakfast. So as soon as she comes in, she's sort of liking the vibe and she's sort of getting into it. So they start getting reservations, and they're like, oh crap, this is working. But then they kind of blow it because that's kind of the vibe with them is they just don't know how to keep people interested.
Hmm.
So the I can't remember what her name was. The um,
Oh, the influencer chick.
influencer. What is her name? Morgan.
Yeah.
Um, which I didn't. I haven't seen the show yet, but she's on the Midnight Club, the Flanagan show with Heather Langenkamp. Um,
Oh, okay.
which I haven't seen that show yet. But anyway, yeah, Morgan. So like I think her show is like the Morgue or something. Morgan of the Morgue, some weird kind of
Yeah,
play on her
something like
name,
that.
which is kind of, so she goes to all of these haunted attractions and rates whether they're good or bad. And but like I said, they keep screwing up. Um, then she's like, if you prove that, like she says, well, you don't really have proof that your grandmother killed all these people. There's no bodies. There's no like real hard evidence. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna help you guys because she kind of likes them, I guess. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna give you some help. Um, and she's trying to find stuff, and she just doesn't. She's not. She keeps trying, and they keep screwing up. Also, Pam is very like. She's very like determined
Mm.
to get proof that her grandmother was a serial killer. I mean, she really wants that. Because she feels like, oh, she's a loser if she doesn't get that. And like I said, Morgan's really trying, but they're not really giving her anything to work with. So she's sort of poo-pooing for a better term what they're trying to do. And Pam's ruining it by getting upset and yelling at her and stuff like that. And I was like, this isn't how it's gonna work for you. But um, we get a twist at the end where Pam decides, oh, forget about proving whether my grandmother is a killer. I'm gonna kill Morgan and
Yeah.
get um, all. We're gonna make our bed and breakfast popular by murdering somebody live on the streaming. Um, and C. Thomas Howell was just like, yeah, you're crazy. Like he doesn't believe any of this from the start, but like he basically has nothing else going for him, so he's sort of supporting his sister the best he can. Um, and then he sort of turns the tables on her, where um, um, he sort of what does he exactly do? Well, Pam actually kills Morgan live on the stream.
Right.
Um,
And the people in the stream are acting like they do in
they
any
think it's fake,
stream.
but they're
Yeah.
excited about it. Yeah. So she ends up, I think, in an asylum or whatever, and then C. Thomas Howell takes over and starts making all the money.
Right.
Um,
And he's like, "Oh, great! I got rid of my sister, sent her off to the loony bin." And
yeah, yeah. And then they have like a they have like a fake person dressed up like the sister and
yeah,
kills a fake Morgan. Um, and she says, like, um, she like makes a joke about, oh, thank you, grandmother, kind of like for showing me the way. And like I said, the brother character just doesn't believe any of it. So he ends up just collecting the money. Then he actually finds the secret passage that the grandmother had hid all the bodies. So
and she really had killed. Yeah.
that's another twist that the grandmother actually was a serial killer,
Mm.
but he gets trapped down there by,
Yeah.
I guess, the ghost of the grandmother. I guess we're supposed to believe that it's the ghost,
Yeah.
and he gets trapped with all the rotting, decayed corpses, and the little trapdoor closes, and he's basically we're led to believe he'll never get out of there, and it's sort of that's how it ends.
Well, TJ, I remembered what happened to the sister. He made it look like she hung herself.
Okay,
that
yeah,
she committed suicide. I forgot about that till I, was thinking about it
that's
again.
right. Because when the woman pretending to be the sister, she gets up in a noose, and
Yeah,
that's when they show it. It ends the tour when she puts the noose on her head.
right. So again, I like this one. Not not quite as well as some of these, but it was still a decent episode. And I could see myself going back and watching it after a little bit.
Allie Ladder's great at playing crazy mental cases. I mean, I, I, she's she's great at playing insane and all the extra stuff, and she's she's not too over the top. Like I think she's right on the line.
Hmm.
But then when she finally goes off the edge, that's when she's like totally, like
Right.
bloody, crazy, you know.
So, what do you think this says about influencers? Should they not go to things like this because they might end up dead? I mean,
I don't know.
uh,
No,
so
it goes to show you don't help people because if you try to help people, you get killed.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's the super pessimistic side of that. Don't help
That's
anybody.
like the Smile movie. Don't be a psychologist because you're just gonna end up getting a evil curse and then dying and lighting yourself on fire. Uh,
Basically, yeah. Uh,
um, so Uncle Bill, you better change your profession.
Uh, so if we move on, I guess you're ready to move on to the next one, right,
Yep.
TJ? Okay. So the next one is Pesticide. This one again is directed by Greg Nicotero. Um, Keith David and Ashley Lawrence are both in this. And
Yeah.
Ashley Lawrence, speaking of therapist, she plays a therapist in this. And Ashley Lawrence is still very attractive, but I had forgotten she's starting to look pretty old now because I almost did
Yeah,
not know
it's
her.
gonna happen to everybody.
Hey, it's already happening to me. I'm gonna,
That's why people are like, "Oh, she's so hot when she was younger." I was like, "Well, she's gonna be old, and what are you gonna? You're gonna not talk? Like Tiffany Shepis is gonna get to a point where she's gonna look like a grandmom. The dead people
yes,
can still say, "Well, she used to be hot." They don't say that. I've noticed that when they talk about her, they talk about a lot because you keep bringing it up, so it's your fault. But when they do talk about her, they talk about her in the past, like the present, like they're talking about how they remember her,
hmm.
and I'm like, she's getting old. She's in a new movie coming out. I saw.
Oh, really?
It's I think it's a slasher. I can't remember. I saw it on somebody's Instagram. No, we're not. We're gonna pause this for a second. I have to look this up.
um,
You
well,
talk for a second.
what? While TJ is doing that, I will say that's a problem that Steve has. He wants to, sit and watch movies with women that, while still attractive, they don't look like they did about 40 or so years ago.
Yeah,
But he still wants to go back and watch all their old movies and like, oh, you know, oh my God, they're just absolutely fantastic and stuff. And like Rosalba Neary for one, she is a grandma now. Literally, she is a
yeah.
grandma. But he had the hots for her when she was young. It's like, come on, guys, grow up and just you know go with the flow. Don't live in the past and stuff like that. Either you like them when they get older or you don't. You know.
Also, people with wives, your wives, hon, your wives are gonna get old too. And what are you gonna say to them when they're older?
Steve better not say one damn thing to him. That's what I'll say.
I mean, I think the Uncle Bill and CK's wives could take them. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, I can't find the movie, but I just saw some. I
If
saw
you
it on
can't
Instagram.
find it, it don't exist, TJ.
Oh, it exists. Believe me. I might have snapped it on my phone too, but because I was like, there was this thing on Instagram, and it was about a movie that was being in production. Oh, it's being produced by um, uh, 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 Darcy.
Oh, is it really?
It's like an '80s kind of throwback slasher movie. Darcy's like producing it. Tiffany Shepis is in it. There's some other horror movie.
I might consider, watching it, checking it out.
Yeah, that's whose Instagram it was. It was Darcy's Instagram. Yeah, go look through her Instagrams. I'm sure you can find it. But yeah, it looks like a cheesy, direct to video slasher. But it looks like it could be. It's called Slasher Size. That's what it
That might
was.
be fun.
Yeah. Like I said, it looks very cheesy. It's not going to have great acting. Kelly Maroney is in it.
Oh, okay.
Sarah French. I don't know. She's another.
That name sounds familiar, but
Melissa Rose is in it. Um, um, John Bloom is in it. You know who John Bloom is?
Joe Bob.
Yeah, Joe Bob is in it.
That's his real name, John
Yeah,
Bloom.
yeah. Sarah Nicklin. I don't know. She's a horror movie actress. Yeah, so there's a few. It looked interesting. Looks like a. It's supposed to be like an '80s throwback, but it looks like one of those early 2000s slasher movies, kind of like, the neon lighting and stuff. Obviously, it's slasher size. It's about an aerobics.
Wonder if it'll be like
It's an aerobic. I don't know the exact story, but it's an aerobic studio where people start getting murdered, basically.
wonder if it'll be like Killer Workout or something like that.
Maybe. Recently, Garrett did a stream about, I think, horror movies that are set in like like in a workout kind of situation.
Oh, cool.
He's gonna have to add this to his list now. You should check out his stream for it.
Yeah, I think I will. Not now, but later on.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, that's Tiffany Shepis. They show her like for half a second. They don't really show much of it for a bit. So yeah, I guess she's either doing this because she knows the people involved, or maybe she's like, oh, maybe I don't know how old her kids are. Maybe her kids are at the age where she's like, oh, I'm going to start doing some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think Tiffany Shepis and Felissa Rose and Darcy and all of them, I think they're friends. So
Yeah. I mean, like Felissa has kids, but I think they're like teenagers now.
Yeah.
Her kids. I'm not gonna say anything about her kids because they're her kids and they're young. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything about. I was gonna say something, but I'm like, I mean, they're cute. They're cute young adults. Let's say that.
But we'll
Anyway, back to the episode.
we got off there a little bit because I was talking about Ashley Lawrence. I love Ashley Lawrence though. I do.
Yeah, but she looks like an older Ashley Lawrence. I mean,
Well, I didn't say she was ugly. I just said she's getting older. I hadn't seen her for a while, so
she's a MILF, and
there you go.
it doesn't look like she's had any surgery yet. She might have, but it doesn't look like she's. Then again, this is like from a year or two ago, so I mean, drastic things can happen over 375 days or more.
But
yeah. So, actually, I forgot too. There's a reference to the creeping up on you.
yeah,
At the beginning of this episode, of this full episode, they show the comic book cover and it says they're creeping up on you.
creeping up on you.
In
Yeah.
reference to this episode about bugs. So it's about this exterminator dude. He's at Ashley Lawrence's. She has her psychiatrist office is out of her house.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to collect his pay.
And he's a really sleazy exterminator too.
Greasy-haired, overweight, bearded slob. He's hitting on her and stuff.
Yeah. She just wants him to go away, so she's writing him his check.
Also, there's another reference to this story. At the beginning of the episode, the creep is walking around in. There's a spider web. With a spider and a fly being attacked by this, the spider attacking the fly.
Right.
So in this episode, at the beginning where we meet the exterminator, he's spraying the pesticides, and he goes up to a spider web where a
Mhm.
spider has killed a fly. So it's a reference to that opening. So I like the connection.
Mhm.
Also, in Ashley Lawrence's character's office, there's a coaster, and it's the Laban configuration.
Oh,
You
I
have to
missed
look,
that.
look
I'm
for
gonna
it.
have to. Yeah.
You have to really look for it because they don't really show it. There's like a glass on it at one point, but if you see it out of the corner of your eye, you see the design. Also, later on, we see we go to the exterminator's house, and on his table is a bunch of junk and stuff, and there's a little the ashtray from the Father's Day episode.
Man, I'm gonna have to go back and
Yeah,
and look
yeah,
for
you have to
those
go look
things.
at the. So anyway, you can go and look for those little things here and there. Um, Also, I think his name is supposed to be a combination of Stephen King and another guy's name. Like his name is, what is his name? This dude,
And then
Harlan
Harlan.
King.
Yeah.
I think Harlan is reference to.
I wonder if that's Harlan Ellison, another
I think
writer.
it's a combination of Harlan Ellison and Stephen King's names. I think the Exterminator. Yeah. Um, yeah. So he sort of interrupts her session, and he's sort of a jerk about it, and she's like, "Well, I'm not going to be needing your services anymore." Gives him the check and sends him out. So he kind of is pissed off at her. So he decides to let some a jar of cockroaches, and he dumps them into her like back room or whatever. So she'll have to call him back again. Um, so he gets a call from Keith David's character, who owns this sort of like this building, and homeless people are hanging out in his backyard area. I
Mhm.
guess he's trying to make condos or whatever, something like that. Um, so he hires them. He hires this exterminator to get rid of the human pests. And at first he's like, "What do you want me to get rid of?" He's like, "I want you to get rid of these people."
Yeah.
Um, so he makes up this kind of. So the guy offers him enough money that like he's gonna want. He's like, "Yeah, I'll kill these people for you, sure." So he sort of makes this concoction of different pesticides and stuff that later on he says something about he's been working on this for a while. So I'm like, I guess he's been wanting to kill people for a long time.
Yeah. It's like, what you been planning, dude?
So he goes to where the homeless people are hanging out late at night, and he sort of at the last minute changes his mind, but he gets startled and ends up dumping his concoction into the soup that the homeless people are making to eat. Um, they end up dying. There's some gross puking and stuff, and some people getting all not as bad as like um, what the hell's that movie with everybody? They drink the booze, and they have the melting movie. What's that movie? Street Trash.
Oh, that one.
It
Yeah.
kind of been like Street Trash, but it's a little bit more subtle.
Uh-huh.
Though people puking is kind of gross. It always grosses me out anyway. So I mean,
Yeah, that's something I don't particularly like to see in anything. It's
so yeah, so he inadvertently kills all these people. I think he finds out in the news the next morning, but he gets a suitcase with the money, and then his conscience starts getting the best of him, and he starts seeing um, like bugs are giant bugs are attacking him. He's in his car at one point, and there's like a little. It looks practical. I think it's a
mm,
practical bug,
yeah, I think
but
so too.
there's like fly is sort of looking at him, and he's like looking back at him. He's like, this fly is just giant fly. Is he like looking? Is he actually looking at me? And then this giant spider in the back attacks him, and then attacks the guy, and then so he basically gets
That
attacked.
giant spider gave me the heebie-jeebies, even though it was clearly not a real spider, I mean, by any stretch of the imagination. But I was like, "Ugh."
But I think also it's a lot of it's practical. So I think the practical looks a lot better
Mm-hmm.
at making you feel gross than if you actually did the CGI stuff. Um, so yeah, so he decides to go to Ashley Lawrence for help because he doesn't know if he's just crazy seeing things or something's really happening. Um, he calls Keith David the devil at one point. Um,
Mhm.
oh, there's a cool scene where one of his hallucinations, where his hand gets bitten off and it's like splurting blood all over the place. So there's some good practical gore effects.
Oh yeah.
Um, there's some gross bug effects. So he goes to Ashley Lawrence. He's like, I don't know, I'm going crazy. I don't know what's going on. She's at first she's just thinking he's like drunk or something like that, but
Mhm.
she sort of believes that at least he's going through something emotionally, if it's not real or not. And she starts writing things down on her pad, like seeing things and blah blah blah. Um, but then she's starting to get, like this guy's getting weird. And then she's looking down at her notes and looks up, and he's like standing right there and kills her. But we find out that's his hallucination, that he actually killed her.
Right.
And he he sort of falls asleep because he's been sleep deprived, and she's like, "Yeah, you probably need a good nap." So he sort of passes out. Um, and when he comes to, he is now shrunk to a little bug size. Ashley Lawrence comes in. She's like, "Oh, Mister, what's your face? Are you here?" And he's gone. She doesn't see him, and she sees a bug, and she grabs up a
She's
newspaper.
like, damn roaches and
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, damn roaches! There's got another roach in here," and he's screaming, "No, it's me, it's Harlan! Help, no!" It's kind of like The Fly, where the fly.
yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. So it reminded me of that, and she ends up just splattering him on the rug on the couch, and then she picks up the magazine, and his little body's just like hanging off of it, and she's like, "Ooh," like I'm guessing she's seeing it as a bug and not him. Um,
Hmm.
and then there's a knock at the door, and it's Keith David dressed as the exterminator, and he's like, "I heard you had bugs," and he's like laughing demonically, and we get the big light show, and um,
And it's like, I guess you are the devil for
yeah,
real. 'Cause-
he's good at that kind of character.
yeah, I think so too.
He's
Yeah.
going to play evil. I like Keith David.
So I was going to read through some of these. So
Sure.
Candace said that this wasn't one of her favorite episodes, but she still enjoyed it. And she said, I think that was one of the reasons I didn't like it as much, bugs and puke. Um, and let's see. It's just hopefully y'all won't mind if I skip over some of the Mutual Appreciation Society going on. It's nice, it's sweet, but it really doesn't pertain to the episodes. But Kathy did say, I admire your content and it has let me enjoy movies I never knew about. Lots of positive influencers out there. Well, thank you, Kathy. I mean, I guess I'll be that kind of influencer. I just don't want to be one of these asshole influencers because there's those too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so if we move on, and I'm going to ask TJ. So you saw the sibling rivalry
I
episode
did.
right too. So do you want to go ahead and cover that one tonight?
If you, I mean, it's up to you. I don't care.
And then that way we'll have covered all of episode 3. It probably makes more sense to do that.
I
Uh,
mean, they're simple stories. I mean,
yeah. So we'll go ahead and talk about the right snuff, not the right stuff, but the right snuff.
you got the right stuff,
I
baby.
heard that
All
the
I
new
want.
kids
That's
on
all.
the
I don't know
block.
any more of that song. I don't know any of their other songs.
I heard New Kids on the Block had a new album out.
Oh, who cares? Like, do they need more money? Just live off of the money you already have.
I liked them back in the day. I was crazy over Joey McIntyre.
My sister, she was a big into them. She had all the magazines, but and cut out the pictures and hang them on our walls and shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I,
I had a nightgown with them on it. I had a pillowcase with them on it. And my dad used to kid me. He said, "You can sleep with them every night now, Dana." But
I didn't like those the boy whatever you call
the
them.
boy bands, I guess that was the boy band of my
Of course,
era.
Nick Candace. I'm sure Blissful. Well, Blissful was more into hard rock. I don't think she would have liked.
I
I
can't
could be wrong. I don't know. I
I
mean,
can't remember now if we've talked about New Kids on the Block. But anyway, back to the right snuff. Um, this has Breckenmeyer on it. Am I pronouncing that right?
I think it's Breckenmeyer. Yeah, yeah, yep.
Okay. And wasn't he like Lewis or something on Clueless? Wasn't he the long
He was the dude
haired
who was into.
skateboarding dude?
Yeah, he was like the. He wasn't stoned, but he was like a stoner type skateboarder dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
He
Tom.
doesn't look like that anymore. Of course, like we said, we all get older, so
Yeah, he looks like a dad. He
yeah,
should be doing like
that's
he should
right.
be somebody's dad in a like on a. He's like what was that? The Patty Duke show. He reminds me of the dad from that show. Like father knows best. Like wow, he's not. Yeah.
But so we have this one was directed by Joe Lynch, by the way.
Who the hell is Stan Bush? I don't even know who that is.
TJ just mixed Stan Bush with New Kids on the Block.
Who is Stan Bush?
I don't know who Stan Bush is either. I guess we're both out of the loop on that one, TJ.
Anyway.
But anyway, there's a big jealousy element in this. Would you agree with that,
Mhm.
TJ? That's kind of at the core of this segment. We've got two astronauts who one of the astronauts played by Breckenmeyer is Ted. He solved the what did he solve the gravity problem in space or
He
something like
created this device that's supposed to be able to change gravity so it can crush things and supposed to make the world easier for things in the world for like
that.
destroying buildings and crushing rocks and stuff like that. But I'm thinking it's going to put a lot of people out of work. That's what it's going to do.
Yeah, exactly. But then we have another astronaut, Alex, who constantly lives in his father's shadow. Basically, his
His
father
dad
was
was
a
his dad was an astronaut who was the first person to land on Mars, I think it is. So he's already and his father was one of those fathers who you know you can't whatever his son did was never good
yeah,
enough.
it was never good enough. Never gave him an ounce of credit
That's
or
why you better really think about if you're going to go in the same profession as a relative, you better think that especially if it's someone who's done something really successful and stuff like that, you're gonna be like, should I go into that? He's basically a nepo baby.
yeah. So let me ask you this: the interviewer that was interviewing him, do you think she was actually taking a dig at Alex, or
No, I think
do you
just
think he
showed
was
him a lot.
delusional? Yeah. Okay.
There was a point where I think it could be looked at that she was doing that on purpose, but then we could be seeing it through his eyes.
Right.
Um, so it's not like Did you did you think it was weird throughout the whole episode? There's these little glitches that are happening, and it's
Oh yeah.
are
Oh
we supposed to be thinking they're being watched by someone else? Or is it just they're trying? Because it's a weird.
well, I mean, based on the ending, maybe they were
Yeah.
being
Because
watched by somebody else.
I'm like, these are really. They were bothering me too. I'm like, is it. Yeah, because I was like, are we watching through someone else's eyes? It was very Twilight Zone.
Mm. So
Um,
let me ask you this, TJ. Did you notice when it was showing the monitor when the two astronauts are sitting there at their stations or whatever? Did you notice the K and B on the screen there?
no, I did not.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, it says K and B there.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, that's cool.
But I see that Candace says I didn't care for this episode. I think Chris liked it, but it just didn't do it for me for some reason. I thought it was a little bit weaker of an episode. It was just okay.
It's set in the 50s, basically, early 60s type of situation. It's very it's very EC comic, like the weird science, weird fantasy. Um, I like it's a change. We finally got an alien type of I mean, we like in the original Creepshow, we got something. We got Jordy Verrill, but that's space on Earth. I like that we're actually in space. I think that's
I
a
thought it was a little bit like the Twilight Zone episode, "A Small Talent for War." Did you see that?
It reminded me of, yeah, that and a few other Twilight Zone episodes. Yeah, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we weren't even talking about the episode yet. Yeah, so so we get what the hell are their character names?
Ted and Alex, is that it?
Is that Ted and Alex? Right. I hate this thing. I have to do this off of memory. Yeah. So we got the two. Yeah, we got. Yeah, like you said, Alex is under the shadow of his dad, and everything seems to be going to the other guy.
Hmm.
We find out that they're. They think that he thinks they're on just like a routine travel in space, and they're testing out this new device that the Breckenmeyer character has developed. Um, but um, Alex is basically being pushed aside. Like you said, when they get a news reporter who interviews them on, and I'm like, wait a minute, they got really good reception up in space.
Right,
A
exactly.
news reporter just like standing in the middle of an outside outside somewhere. She's not like in like NASA. She's like just that was kind of weird. But then I think if it's sort of set in the 50s, those sci-fi movies back then, they didn't know how things worked.
Right.
So I think if you give it that 50s sci-fi kind of vibe, watching it, you kind of forgive a lot of the stuff that's going on. So anyway, we find out that they're actually going there to make contact with aliens, and the aliens want to. Supposedly the president has decided that the Breckenmeyer character is the one that's going to meet with the aliens,
Hmm.
and they've been talking with the aliens, and they don't speak English, but they're he's supposed to present them with this. I don't know if it's a treaty or whatever. We don't exactly know what it is. Present them with this something that was written by the aliens, but it's given to him specifically. Uh,
Hmm.
but the other guy is like, he's starting to see like visions of his dad, which I don't know if it's on purpose, but he's under the shadow of his father, and then we see an image of a shadow as his father, which I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but it seems like it's a very um, specific thing. Did you want to read that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt you mid thought, but thank you for the $5 super chat, by the way, Super Batman Nerd. And he says Stan Bush, the artist, did the song "The Touch" from the Transformers movie from the '80s. You got the touch, you got the power.
That's a
So,
stretch.
so now we know who Stan Bush is, though.
I don't know what it had to do with anything that I was doing, but sure. You get $5. That's all that counts. um, so yeah. So he decides he's going to be the one to give that note to the aliens.
Mhm.
Um, and how he gets away with that is he locks the Breckenmeyer in the hatch that has this device, and basically crushes him to death. Which it was some cool. I like his head explodes, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Um, like he first starts folding backwards, and then his glasses are starting to be crushed by the force.
Mhm.
They're, they first start off as folding more than being crushed, which I was like, okay, I guess. Like I
Yeah,
said,
it was like almost like he was being flattened down to the floor.
right. Um, and yeah, um, so he ends up suiting up and going out to deliver the message to the aliens. Um, we meet the aliens face to face. Now earlier on, the NASA woman who they talked to, not the reporter, but this other woman, she says they were humanoid. But when we see these creatures, they're just like a brain.
Yeah, I
With
know. That's what I
fins,
was thinking too.
they
I
have
was like, wait
long
a minute.
arms, and they're sort of like giant creatures.
And they
They're
got a big eyeball in the middle of the head.
they're very like I said, they're weird science EC. They're like Mars Attacks looking kind of creatures.
Right,
The
yeah.
skull. Um, I think they're cool looking, but the effects for the mouth, they just kind of go. They're just like a puppet. They're just like where toe like I'm like maybe they should have
It
been
was
here.
kind of hard to understand them, even though
Yeah, I watched it with subtitles. Yeah, yeah.
it
At first, they're speaking another language, and then
right.
they start speaking English because Um, so yeah, he's like, I don't understand what you're saying. I brought you the blah blah blah. Then they start speaking English, and they what do they call? They
They called Ted the ambassador, the guy he
ambassador. That's
killed.
what it is.
Yeah.
They call Ted the ambassador, and they're like, "Where's the ambassador? The ambassador was supposed to be here," and he's trying not to say that he just killed the guy.
Yeah.
They end up this claw, a hand or something, claw comes and they read his mind basically.
Yeah.
And they find out,
The one says scan him.
yeah.
And like
So they find out that he had killed the guy, and they go, he was one of us.
yeah.
So throughout the episode, when he was talking about how you're getting everything and you're going to get all the accolades, and he kept saying we're the same, we're the same. We always wanted to reach the stars and blah blah blah. And I guess that's kind of true, but they weren't from the same planet.
Right,
So they
exactly.
weren't the same, but so yeah, so they read his mind, and he goes, not only did you kill the ambassador, you doomed your planet. And he's like, I don't understand. So they explain, using the device on his ship caused some kind of cosmic disturbance, and it whacked out the solar system, or I don't know the whole universe, but at least the solar system around him, which caused the moon to fall out of its gravity and come hurtling towards Earth. So the reporter comes in again, and first of all, the woman at NASA keeps trying to reach them, but she can't. He ends up getting back. The aliens end up putting him back on the ship after they tell him, you just basically doomed your world to destruction. And they're like, you will now be known, but not for long, because the Earth's going to be destroyed. And like I said, the NASA woman tries to break. I don't think they call it NASA, but whatever. She tries to contact them, but no, there's no like he's not worried about that right now. And then we start watching a news feed. Get that reporter again. She comes back and she starts saying she's for the Ted dude.
And
Then
did they accidentally show the death of Ted? Because she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't meant for."
she's like, we're going to show a feed from the ship,
Uh huh.
and it's I guess the aliens must have put it into the feed that we see, or we see a playback of the video of the guy being crushed to death in the thing. And she's like, oh, audience, you weren't supposed to see that. We're so sorry. And then she's like, what's going on? And she's like, oh my God, the moon is hurtling towards the Earth. And then we see a very cartoony moon crash into Earth and destroy the Earth. And the dude is left alone on in his ship. All of Earth has been destroyed. And we hear the voice of his father saying, "You'll never be anybody now." I forget what he said specifically, but
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what.
"You will never be the one," is what he
Yeah,
said.
you will never be the one.
He said
That's
that
right.
earlier. You'll never be the one to get the accolades. You'll never be the one to. So yeah, the last thing he hears is his father telling him he'll never be anything. And he actually, the ironic thing is, he is the only one that survived uh, Earth being destroyed.
But he has nowhere to go but floating out in oblivion in the ship. I wonder how long that's going to last.
I like the beginning of the next episode is it's a cartoon of the creep floating in space in a spacesuit, which I think is
Yeah,
kind of cute. I
and
like
he's laughing and um, which you want to go on to that one, TJ, or is there anything
so
else you want?
this one's kind of cute. I like it.
Okay, I watched it again because I was at first I was like I'm not liking this one, and there's still some things that I don't like about it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna touch on that real briefly. But Molly Ringwald is in this.
At first, I didn't.
I
It,
didn't know her at first. I was like,
that
wait,
first shot, it was just she looked so different. But then when she started moving around, she looked like Molly Ringwald all of a sudden. I don't know.
yeah, it was
I don't know what
weird.
it was. It was just weird.
it's, it's like she doesn't look like Molly Ringwald, doesn't look like her, and then all of a sudden she looks like her.
It's like, oh, that's Molly
Uh,
Ringwald.
but I just want to say real quickly, and I know I'm not of the generation now, so I'm probably like my parents was when I was using the the uh, the words that people saying ooh grody and stuff like that. My parents probably thought what in the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But there's one part where the main girl, Lola, is going to see Mrs. Porter, Molly Ringwald's character, and she's trying to tell her, hey, my brother's trying to kill me and all this stuff. But she starts talking about like her friend kissed her. She was staying over at her friend's house, and like it's like stream of consciousness thing. She goes from one scene where the girl she's staying all night at her house, her brother comes into the room shirtless
Yeah.
and pours milk all over him, and
Yeah, that weird fantasy. Yeah, she was having.
she's got ice cream or yogurt or so. I think it's ice cream falling out of her mouth while she's looking at him, and
I think they were making fun of kids nowadays and how they just can't keep one thought and finish it. And
that's probably it.
I think she kept going because I'm like, stop, just shut
Yeah,
up.
just be quiet. And Molly Ringwald
She was it was on purpose, but it was just like, no, stop.
and Molly Ringwald kept saying, "You need to go back to class." She kept telling her, "You need to go back to class." But the one thing that bugged me more than anything else is and I've heard other young people say this, called her vagina a vajayjay. I hate that kind of stuff. I hate it with a passion. Maybe it's just because I'm too damn old now. At
I don't know.
47, I just can't tolerate that. I mean, did that bother you, TJ, or is it just me?
No,
Didn't bother you?
I mean, how many times a day do you hear that?
Well, it's just sound. I was telling somebody. I was telling Candace today. I was like, it's just like these kids that have shorthand for. They can't call their boyfriend, girlfriend. They can't call them baby or babe. Even they got to call them bae. My bae. I think that's the stupidest, most lazy thing in the world.
Well, not that specifically, but I know, like on TikTok and stuff, there's certain words they don't like you saying, and they'll fine you on your live, or
Oh, really?
they won't let you send out a video. So they're gonna say different words
So
that
I wonder if you can't say vagina,
maybe
but if you say vajayjay, that's fine.
like I noticed they don't say kill or die. You say unalive now. If you say don't
Oh
die on
yeah,
TikTok, they don't like it, so you have to say unalive, which I think is stupid and makes no sense. Like they can't even say gay. Like if you're talking about a gay person, you can't even say gay anymore. And I'm like, what? I mean, first of all,
oh,
first you couldn't say gay because you can't insult gay people, but now you just can't say the word and reference it. Like, what are you?
I would rather, if I was gay, which I'm not, but if I was gay and somebody used the word gay, I would rather that than, some other kind. If I was a guy, I wouldn't want to be called the F word. I'm not going to say it on
Oh
here,
yeah.
but
But I'm just saying, like they have for some reason certain words are taboo. Like if I post something on TikTok and it's got like I have to post fake blood if it's a bloody scene, like if it's a scene from a horror movie or something like that, or if I want to do something with fake blood, I have to make sure I put that in there, or I'll get it taken down because they'll think it's real.
oh,
Which I'm like, that makes no sense. But meanwhile, you see these people popping like zits and stuff on TikTok and making these gross food concoctions, and I'm like, that's okay,
yeah.
but fake blood isn't. I mean, like, come on. Anyway, and
But
then
it,
it's YouTube. You have to if you like people who do reaction videos and it's like a horror movie. They gotta blur out a whole scene if it has blood in it. It's like, it's a movie. Seriously? I mean,
what happened? I'm going to mark this not for children.
uh,
I guess that doesn't work anymore. But
no, because you can't. Yeah, it's like originally years ago. I wanted before reaction videos were popular. I wanted to do sort of a review show where I would do like a horror host kind of character, and then I
right.
would recreate one of the kills from the movie I was reviewing. But then they started, you know, pounding down on people who were, that's a wrong reference, people who wanted to, people showing bloody stuff, and I'm like, well, that ruins my whole concept, and now I can't even do it anymore. And it's like one of my first ideas was I was gonna review Tenebrae, and I was gonna
Yeah.
recreate the arm getting cut off, and then like, no,
And see, that would have been cool.
yeah, but I would have to blur it out, and I would have had to like. Maybe I can still do it. You have to subscribe to my Patreon so you can actually see the full scene. Maybe I'll just do
Yeah,
that.
because that would be pointless to put all this together and then you got to
Yeah,
blur it out.
yeah.
Uh, but anyway, back
Back
to
to
the segment.
looking
Uh,
like Molly Ringwald.
Lola was the only part of it really that I didn't care for. She just sort of annoyed me, but maybe that was the point that she.
Once 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 she gets to her house,
Mhm.
I liked her better. I liked her
Yeah,
until
yeah,
we'll get to that. All right, so
yeah. Go ahead, TJ.
she's seeing her counselor, played by Molly Ringwald, who's just like first like she was like me. Get to the point, kid.
Yeah,
Because she's like, my brother's trying to kill me, and then she goes into this story about she slept over her girlfriend's house, and her girlfriend was she woke up and her girlfriend was kissing her. Maybe she doesn't know for sure, and then she's like talking about her friend's brother walks by, and she's into him, and then but she starts drooling her ice cream, and she's seeing him drink milk and pour it all over him, like trying to be sexy, and I'm like, what does this have to do with your brother trying to kill you? And I'm glad Molly Ringwald was feeling the same frustration I was feeling while listening to her
yeah, right.
forth with her stories. Um, then she's like, yeah, my brother tied me up. And then she's like, okay, I believe you. Where are the marks on your wrists? And she's like, what? Well, if you were tied up and broke free, you would have some kind of mark. And she's like, no. So she ends up leaving. Molly Ringwald does not believe her. She's like, great, what do I do? So she leaves. She's out in the yard in front of the school. She sees her brother, and she's like, hey, we're going to talk. And he sort of runs away from her like he's scared.
Right.
Okay, something's up here. And her friend comes by, and she's like they're both acting normal. She's not acting like her friend tried to hit on her. So she's like, hey, after practice, after school, let's go grab something to eat. And she's like, oh, but I got lacrosse practice. Let's grab something after lacrosse practice. I'll call you and whatever. And she's like, oh, okay. So she's really wanting to grab a bite to eat with her friend. This will come back later in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes back home. Now, if you think your brother's trying to kill you, would you go back home?
I wouldn't.
So she's figuring, oh, maybe her parents will be there. Because she says to the counselor earlier, I don't know. I haven't been home for a couple of days, so I really haven't talked to my parents. So she's sort of so she's sort of slowly walking through the house. So it's now become a slasher movie where she's doing what stupid people do in slasher movies. She's going back to the scene of the crime where there might be somebody who wants to kill her, and she's going through, and all of a sudden it's dark. It must be winter because it got dark really early. Um, um, so she's horror movie wandering through the house, through dark corridors, dark rooms. She ends up in the I guess the garage. She turns on the light, and it's green. So obviously we're doing a Creepshow effect because I'm like, first I was like, why is there a green light in the garage? And I realized, oh, they're doing lighting. Okay.
It's like
These
a
are,
Geordie Verrill
yeah, that's what I
reference.
was. Yeah. So these are my thoughts. I'm just giving you my thoughts while I'm watching it. Um, I actually recorded myself watching the episode because I haven't seen it before, so maybe I'll try to upload that at some point, and you can see me saying stupid stuff to the to the TV. Anyway, um, oh, we had found out that her brother when she was saying that my brother was trying to kill me. Well, he was looking up medieval weapons online, and she's like guns and stuff. No, like battle axes and whatever maces and stuff. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but so later on when she's going through the garage and she doesn't find anything in the garage, she walks out of the garage and you see the outline of an axe,
Mhm.
which I guess people do that. Do people do that with tools? Do they actually mark them off
I
on the
didn't think so, but
because it seems like a joke.
yeah.
Because like in it was Evil Dead 2, where he's looking for the chainsaw and there's like a chainsaw.
There's an outline there.
So yeah. Anyway, so obviously something's going on with the axe.
Maybe that's what it was. It was a reference to Evil Dead or Evil
Maybe.
Dead 2.
But then I noticed some of the other things had chalk outlines around them that were still on the board. So maybe that's just something people do. I don't know. Um, anyway, she comes face to face with her brother who has an axe, and she's like, "Why are you trying to kill me?" Um, where are mom and dad? You killed them? And he's like, no, I didn't kill mom and dad. You did. And she's like, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about. What? So he tells the story of how she came home, killed the mom, um, and then dad asked her if she wanted pancakes, killed the dad, because she's like, oh, I had syrup all over my hand. No, he goes, it wasn't syrup, it was blood. And then he tells her the story that she killed the parents because she's some kind of vampire creature, and he wants to kill her because he's her brother and he's trying to do be a good big brother and I guess stop her from killing people.
Kind of like American Werewolf in London, where his friend keeps coming back and saying, David, you got to kill yourself, David.
Yeah. So 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 she he's like she's like, so you're just gonna chop my head off and go about your day? And they kind of look at each other and they start laughing because they realize how ridiculous this is. Because she says something like, she uses she says something to, wait a minute, now I'm looking it up. She says, wait a minute, give me a second. She's like, so you just want me to stay here and you expect me to just let you chop my head off, like without me trying to do anything? And she says, like, her line is, don't decat me compliantly.
Yeah, right.
And they stare at each other and they start laughing because they realize how ridiculous it is, what's going on, even though she did kill her parents. It's still kind of ridiculous that they're having this conversation. And he goes, why are you just pulling out the SAT words? Compliantly? You don't use those words. I think so I kind of like the break, even though, it's like, wait a minute, you just killed your parents. But I kind of, this is where I like her character better. I think the interactions with her and her brother are really cool. Like, if they played brother and sister in a movie, I would like. I think it would be a cool idea to do that again.
Right.
Um, so they try to figure out when did she become a vampire? She has no idea, and she's like, when my girlfriend was pretending to kiss me, she wasn't trying to kiss me. She made me a vampire for some reason. I guess because they were friends, she wanted her to become a vampire too. Um, so they're
Didn't
like,
want to be lonely as a vampire, so
yeah, maybe. We don't get her point of view. We don't get to find out. So they decide, okay, we're gonna kill your friend. Because he's like, I can't kill my sister. You know, you're my sister. I love you. Blah blah blah. And there's a sweet moment where he goes, I love you, and she goes, well, duh.
right.
Which I think that's a cute like a Clueless moment or
Yeah, exactly.
whatever the new kids movie now is that they watch. Um, um, so they decide, all right, we're gonna kill my friend because she's the one that started this. Um, that's really their plan. It's like nothing else to it. Like usually you're gonna go, oh, if we kill the head vampire, then maybe it'll cure you. They're like they don't even care about that. They're
Hmm.
just like we're just gonna kill her because it's her fault that my parents are dead. Um, so she decides he's gonna go kill her, but she's like, you can't go alone. She'll kill you. So he's like, okay, you're gonna have to make me a vampire. She makes him a vampire. Um, and then it's the next day, and she's talking to the guidance counselor again, Molly Ringwald. Um, and she's like, oh yeah, my brother was trying to kill me, but um,
Everything's okay now.
yeah. But so the guidance counselor. Why she's there is the guidance counselor is questioning her. So people said that you were with your friend yesterday at school, and that you were going to get dinner, and she's disappeared. We don't know where she is. And then we get a quick cut to her in her bedroom with her head cut off because they figure out early in the episode that if you cut off the vamp, he's like, oh, I read that if you cut off a vampire's head, that kills the vampire. So we see the friend with her head in her hands, and she's all bloody and gory, which I think is a kind of funny cut because it goes from the girl going, I don't know where she is to she's dead.
There she is.
They just they must have hid the body. Oh yeah, early on, when the brother tells her that she killed her parents, he's like, we find out that he put them in trash bags, and she's like, you threw mom and dad away?
Yeah.
Oh, there's also a reference when she's originally talking to the guidance counselor. She mentions their dog, and their dog was named Dolores Claiborne.
That's right. The little weenie dog
And I
was
want
Dolores Claiborne. Yeah.
they referenced the Stephen King books, which I thought was cool.
Yep.
Anyway, flash to forward to her going, okay, and then of course the guidance counselor's suspicious. She's like, okay, sure. And then the brother comes in, and then she's like, oh shit, basically. And
Hmm.
um, the door starts closing, and then we're outside in the front of the school, and all the kids are leaving to go home, and then you hear the guidance counselor's blood-curdling scream, ah! And that's the end of the episode.
Which I would have to agree with Candace, although I didn't kind of figure out what was going on till it got to
Oh,
that
I
point.
knew it was I figured the vampire thing kind of early.
I guess maybe I was, I don't know, half out of it or something. I don't know. But Candace says it wasn't a bad episode. When I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, I guess this isn't like too bad. Um,
The vampire, the look of the vampire is very 30 Days of Night with like the big mouth. So the
yeah.
chick was kind of flopping around with the
It's
teeth.
kind of like Fright Night as well, I thought.
Yeah, the Amanda Beer's face, but more like the remake with the shitty CGI faces, which I hated that part.
Unfortunately.
I mean, I didn't like the movie much at all, but that part, just like the effects were just kind of like they just basically created the poster for all the looks of the vampires in the remake. But
But
But yeah, it was a cute episode. I like the monsters and the blood.
it was a decent episode after I watched it again, and of course I watched it again after I talked to you about it, TJ, through Messenger, and I was like, yeah, I guess this isn't too bad, but I still don't like hearing somebody say vajayjay. You know, I still don't like that, but that's a small thing, I guess.
I
And
like Molly Ringwald. She's in a school.
yeah,
It's a high school, so it's like a reference to her being in all those movies when she was younger in
yeah,
high school.
those high school movies back in the '80s, and
Yeah.
um, but I was gonna see if there's hey Radhammer, he's in here.
Rat.
Um, Blizzle says she was never allowed to use slang. Uh,
What words was she allowed? Did they have a list of words she was allowed to use?
I don't know for sure. Candace said she didn't know Molly Ringwald at first either.
Yeah,
Uh,
so maybe it's the face she's making. It just looked weird. I don't know.
yeah, but then, like TJ said, all of a sudden just she looked a certain way. It's like, oh heck yeah, it is Molly Ringwald. Uh, Blizzle said, "This is what I love about these streams. You both go over each episode and share trivia. Well, we try, you know,
Well, it'd be boring just to tell what happened in the episode and then that's it.
because we kind of want people, like, even if they've watched them, to go back and watch it again to see if they can find all those little aha moments, those little
Yeah.
things like the puzzle box from the on the
You
coaster
really
from
have to
Hill.
look to find that.
I got to go back and
Because
look.
where Ashley Lawrence is sitting on the table next to her. It's a coaster. You just have to really see it in the right light. Because, like I said, it's not a shot where it's like, look, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah, I'm going to shove it in your face. You got to go looking
Yeah.
for it a little
Same
bit.
with the ashtray. You really have to see where the ashtray is.
Blissful says she was a secret fan of New Kids on the Block, and then she says, "Shh," you know. And Candace says, "My whole room was New Kids on the Block. I had the bedding and the gown, Dana." So Candace was about like me. She may have had actually more than me. Um, I don't even know how to pronounce what Radhammer's talking about, so I ain't even going to try. Do you know how to pronounce that?
Nope, not trying.
Okay. He said he met a girl on Tinder and she told him she had an extra one, whatever it is.
I'd be like Uncle Bill, just like, I'm not going to repeat that, but I'm not going to put it up on the screen. But
Yeah, I'm not going to put it up on the screen either. Sorry, Radhammer. Just in case it is something that would get me kicked off of YouTube or something. So, because I'm done that way. I don't know all this stuff. Like, I don't know what it all means.
yeah.
I'm going to step in there real quick and let Darcy back here. She's having a fit. Come on, Darcy.
I'll just stand here and stare at the camera. Hi, camera. Anything else? Anything Dan missed in the chat? Let me see. No. Nope.
I got tired of hearing you whining back there on the gate. TJ, I'll show you one of my postcards while we go.
Yeah, show me. Well, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. I thought Vistaprint did a good job on these. I gave them the design. They took it and ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get a mouse pad too, just for the heck of it, because I wanted to see how it would turn out. So
Your whole house is going to be covered with data and stuff. Steve's going to be like, what's this crap?
Well, Steve was just like, how much did it cost? That was his first thing. How much did it cost?
Really? That doesn't sound like Steve at all.
No, doesn't sound like my husband at all.
By the way, you mentioned the Christmas special. Did you want to talk about that?
What? Which one?
The Christmas special? The holiday special?
Do you want to go ahead and talk about it, or do you want
I watched it because you said you want.
Oh, well, I meant at the, like, when we do the second half. I'm sorry about that, TJ, because I didn't go back and rewatch it, so I probably wouldn't be any good at talking about it tonight.
Stupid Batman, I'm not consistent, so that's life.
Yeah.
That's life, pal. Sometimes I'm not gonna mention something else.
Candace says, "Oh, awesome, Dana! You got your stuff from Vista." Yes, I did.
Hmm.
I like my little. I was able to get more of the business card size ones because they were less expensive. And Candace, I did try to look into seeing if they would send me so many free, and evidently they don't do that anymore because I couldn't find anywhere where they would.
You're paying for every little thing that you get.
Evidently, they was like, "Bitch, you're paying for all this." So I was like, "Okay, I'll
Did
only get 25 of the postcard sizes."
Did you watch the other Creepshow special, the animated one?
Hey, are you talking about for this season? You
I
talking about
I,
Survivor type? Because
when did it come out? I thought didn't come out Creepshow the
I think Survivor type on this season was an animated special. Well, Survivor type and
no,
Twitter
it was literally
conversations.
a 45-minute Creepshow animated special that came out in 2020.
Oh,
It's like that shitty animation. What is it? The digital weird looking stuff. It's like
oh, I
pieces
got you.
move, but not the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's called something. I forget what it's called. I couldn't even. I didn't even like the animation, so I didn't really watch it yet. But I think those were in between season 1 and 2. I think those two specials were done. I think it's a
Um,
Halloween special because the kid was
oh,
holding a pumpkin in his hand.
yeah, I think I vaguely remember it, but I can't recall if I watched it or not.
Yeah, but that I haven't seen that one
Mm.
yet. I
But
was
I
like,
thought I would talk about my stupidity that I did. And maybe people will learn from my stupidity.
which? I mean,
And
this is,
thanks, TJ.
not that there's a multiple stupid things, but
Well, this is convention related because
oh,
there's a horror hound convention coming up at the end of this month, like the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So I should have been smart because I was planning on going on Saturday, and I've already told Candace this, so she probably already knows. Um, but I did not think that those Saturday tickets would sell. I should have known because Eli Roth's going to be there. The
oh.
Raimi brothers are going to be there. All three of them, even Ivan. Um,
Who even knows what he looks like?
well, you know what he looks like now because they've got his picture on Horror Hound,
He
the
better be on
website.
charging like $5 because no one knows who the hell he is.
But I was planning on going on Saturday because usually me and Steve like to go on Saturday, especially for him because he doesn't want to go on Sunday because he's got to go to work the next day.
Right.
So he said he thought he saw it today. He said, "Daddy, you might take a look at those tickets for Saturday," because he said they had like a limited supply of them left. And so evidently it was not yesterday, or not today, it was yesterday, because when I got on there, I was like, oh shit. That it was grayed out, and when you click on it, all the Saturday tickets sold out. So I had a major meltdown and acted like a big baby. And Steve said, well, he said, we'll go on Sunday. So we're going to go on Sunday, and Steve went on and bought the tickets, and I was going to wait until Friday when I get paid, and I was going to get everything, my photo op ticket and my, or our tickets to get in the place.
Yeah.
And so he went on and bought the Sunday tickets. Now I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they don't sell out of them damn photo ops with all three of them, because I want to get my picture with all three of them. I don't care that people probably don't even think about Ivan. When they think about the Raimi brothers, they think about Sam and Ted at best. But Ivan did help Sam write some of the Evil Dead, like I think the Evil Dead sequels, like Evil Dead 2, and he may have helped with Army of Darkness. I can't recall right now, but
Did they have
Candace,
a package deal where you get all 3 days?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was that sold out too?
No, and I'm hoping it doesn't. Oh, you're talking about all 3 days?
Yeah.
It's not sold out, but me and Steve are at the point where we can't go and stay a whole weekend. So if I just did that just for Saturday, it'd be a waste because they're like $70 a piece.
Because that's how they get you. They'll do a package deal, so that limits the days because people will buy the package, and then it'll limit because they do that with the Blu-rays and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
they like Shout Factory, they'll put out like they just put out the Killer Clowns from Outer Space 4K, and they're like,
yeah.
well, we're now out of the Steelbook, but you can buy the full
You can
the
buy
full
the full bundle and like,
box, and you can get the Steelbook, and I'm like, and I was Garrett did a stream about it the
mm,
other night, and he's like, yeah, it doesn't even the artwork isn't even that great. And I'm like, yeah, he kind of talked me out. Like I was gonna buy the whole bundle because I liked the Steelbook, and I
right.
noticed it was out, but I was like, yeah, it's the two cocoons, and
So
then
Garrett influenced you not to buy that
yeah,
bundle.
he saved me $175, which I appreciate.
Ooh, $175. I knew it'd be expensive, but man.
And then I heard the Dead Boys, Dead Pig guys doing a. They were talking about 4Ks, and they were like, um, actually no, I think it was on Garrett's stream. They were talking. They were talking in the chat, and they were saying how I think it was CK who was saying how there's not. I mean, like Garrett has the Blu-ray of Kill the Clowns.
Mm,
The who put that one out?
trying to think.
Who's that company that puts that has they have the little colored blocks at the bottom of the
You talking about Arrow?
Arrow? That's it.
Hmm.
He got the Arrow, and he was trying to figure out is the 4K scan as good as the 4K release? It's not, but then again, how much how much are your eyes going to really notice the difference unless you're like examining and you're comparing the two?
Hmm.
Because there is a difference between a 4K scan and a 4K disc.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's like I forget what it's like, maybe double the resolution, which when you think about it is a lot. But then, how clear do you need to see the movie? And eventually, your eyes are going to get older, and you're not going to see the movie like you did 20 years ago. Anyways,
Right.
your eyes are never going to see it exactly like it was. And then again, I had a whole conversation with somebody about this. You're not going to know exactly what the movie looked like. You're not going to. No one has seen, especially not digital, but like a movie that was on film and that had a negative. Unless the movie, when it came out, you saw the exact print, the first struck print, and you saw it in the best theater that had the best, camera, the best, not camera, what do you call it? Um, um, projector
Right.
with the best, screen and the silver, I guess back in the old days they had like a certain screen so everything would look perfect. Unless you're seeing the perfect cut of a negative made into a film, you're not going to know exactly how the movie looked. So I mean, it all depends on what you want to spend. If you want to keep spending money for just a double upgrade, for just like a little bit of an upgrade or not. I mean,
Hmm.
eventually they're gonna do 8Ks, and it's like, are you gonna really buy all your movies again? I mean, the crazy collectors out there, are they gonna really buy an 8K of a movie they already have in three other
I
formats?
think Steve talked me out of going to 8K, because he's like, Dana, really?
Clearly, you're gonna see it.
I mean, I think at least for now, 4K's good enough for me. Now, give me 10 years, I might change, but uh,
Also, they're starting to take the grain out of movies that had grain in them. The grain is part of the movie. It's part of like the
that's right.
tones and the colors and stuff that are from the film. If
And
you're gonna
that
make
was
something a lot
something,
longer,
yeah, that was something a few years ago I was afraid of happening to movies that I think really benefited from that grain.
yeah.
You're right. That's a natural occurrence in the film, and you take that away. I think it's going to make it come off looking strange or false. looking, to
Yeah.
do that, to take all that natural stuff out of the film.
And
But
by the way, 4Ks are like 40, $50. 8Ks are going to be like a lot more than that when they come out. So I mean,
they'll be like VHS was when nobody could afford to buy VHS. Um,
from VHS to Blu-ray is a huge difference. From Blu-ray
yes,
to a 4K, depends on how much you like the movie. And even Garrett was saying with Killer Clowns, the the Blu-ray has more features on it than the 4K does. So I mean, like, does he really want to? Does the picture quality that great that it's going to really matter in the long run?
right.
I don't know.
I mean, there's some Blu-rays where I've gotten the 4K and I hang on to the Blu-ray because of the extra features that are on that Blu-ray that they don't carry over or expand on or anything like that.
Yeah.
You get like bare bones.
Like let's say they released the Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 on 4K.
Hmm.
I I, I mean that's it. But I mean how great could those look? They were
Probably not much better than the Blu-ray, if at all. But I'll probably be a sucker and buy them when they come out. I'll be totally honest.
because
Uh,
they're gonna probably release those two together if they ever do. CK keeps saying, "Oh, they're eventually gonna release them." So I'm like, I don't know. They haven't
well,
in a
I
while.
mean, if he could promise me, which he can't, that they were going to do it next week or something like that, and not 5 years from now, or even 2 or 3 years from now, I might consider, because he's so proud, and I love CK, I do, but he's so proud of the fact that he has told certain people, get rid of that Blu-ray now because they're coming out with a 4K, and then when the 4K comes out, those Blu-rays you got will be worthless. So sell them now and make some money off of them. But I just can't do that. He keeps telling me to get rid of my Sleepaway Camp Blu-rays,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what if I do this and the 4K doesn't come out for several years? I mean, look at the trick or treat thing. I'm not meaning to pick on Felsher or anything, but look at what kind of mess that is. I mean, we thought we were going to get it, and
Is that
now
ever coming out?
some people think it's never coming out. But
By the way, I'm on Amazon. You can get Sleepaway Camp 2 on Blu-ray for for $23
well, there you go. See,
from 88 films. Now, I don't think it's a I don't think it's a who put it out originally? Show Factor, right?
I
So
believe so. Yeah,
how did 88 films get it? And it doesn't say it's like a region B or anything.
yeah. 88 Films is a overseas or UK company, I think.
Oh, it's got the little 18 in the circle. Oh, it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a Blu-ray. If you have how many? If you're a big, oh, it is. I'm sorry, it's a region B. I'm sorry. Yeah, but if you're a real horror fan, you have you have a region free player. I'm gonna guess
Yeah, yeah.
most real old school horror fans have that. So people have Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. Do I really want the 4K? Is it going to really matter? They're not going to get a Pamela Springsteen commentary.
No, I mean, I'm convinced of that. I've made my peace with that. But Pamela Springsteen is never going to talk about that movie ever again. She's not going to do any interviews. She's not going to do a commentary. She's doing her photography thing, and that's all well and good. But just please, fans of those movies and her, don't hang on to a hope that she's ever going to do anything regarding that, because she's not.
And I know some people get really upset. Like they're like, well, she. Well, first of all, movies you love, of course, you're going to be protective of them. So when someone says, even if they don't say anything, like they don't even talk about the movies, you're like, well, she should talk about the movies. She was in them, and we like them, so she should talk about them. It's like she doesn't have
She,
to.
yeah, she doesn't owe us anything.
And yeah, maybe Jamie Lee Curtis is crazy, but she's Jamie Lee Curtis. She can say whatever she wants. She doesn't have to. She can do shitty David Gordon Green movies. She can she can charge $80. But by the way, her at least her money went to charity. She wasn't pocketing the 80
Yeah,
bucks for her. And people never give her credit for that. They're like, well, she
I
charged so
know.
much. But it was going
Right.
to charity, people. Calm the fuck down. I mean,
It was going to, well, when I got met her and got her autograph, it was going to a children's hospital out in
yeah.
California. So,
I mean,
you
if you
know,
have children, then that's your problem. But I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't have to say, you can kind of get bothered because you're a fan, but you just can't go, she's a horrible person and doesn't deserve happiness because
no, I don't ever, I don't think of
she
Jamie
doesn't
Lee
like
Curtis
Citizen
as a
Kane and
horrible.
Prom Night are the same thing. I mean, come on.
But I still love Jamie Lee Curtis. I just, when I met her, I had the unfortunate circumstance of the ticket I was dealt, because I was working at my first library job. And so I had to take a break. I told everybody, I said, I'm taking a break. I'm going back to my desk and I am going to buy these Jamie Lee Curtis autograph tickets. And I spent 80 times two because I got me one and Steve one. So we both could get something signed. And so when I actually got up there, well, just before I got up there, this poor guy, bless his heart, I don't blame him, but I don't know how many freaking posters he had, but he dropped them all over the stage and they went rolling everywhere. So, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis was being kind of her sarcastic, kind of funny self. And she said, hurry along, she said to him. So, because of that, I was the next person in line. So she was still distracted by this guy and his poster tubes rolling all over the place. So I didn't really feel like I got the full, experience of meeting her. Plus, it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. The
Yeah.
poor woman had been signing autographs all day long.
She's in her late 60s for crying out loud. Come on, give her a break.
It was just one of those circumstances that it could happen to anybody. The person in front of you could drop their shit all over the place, and
Mm.
but I can't really get mad at that guy because he was buying everybody. I don't know if he was rich or what. He must have been if he had that many posters that he was going to get signed. But he was buying everybody that wanted drinks in the line. He was like, I'll get you a mixed drink or whatever. What y'all want?
Yeah, because he was probably selling those signed Jamie Lee Curtis posters for $1,000 a piece. That's how he could afford it.
Oh, yeah.
Those assholes who buy up all the shit and they go, the people are like, well, why are those stuff out of print? Because some asshole bought 1,000 of them and he's selling them online. And that's when you see like when you're on eBay and you'll see someone has 17, I sold 30. Yeah, because you bought like a million of them.
You
Like,
bought them all up and nobody else could get them. And then because they're signed,
yeah.
you're putting them back out there for astronomical
Mhm.
amounts.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was looking for an actual Evil Dead poster, here I am, the Evil Dead chick. I don't even have an original Evil Dead poster.
Ah.
With and I got one, but it was a reprint. It wasn't an original. But did TJ? Did I ever tell you the accident that happened to my poster?
I know there was. I don't know the exact details about it because I know you've told the story before, but I don't know
Well,
what.
I'll tell it again real quick and make Steve feel bad if he goes back and watches this.
Okay.
But Steve, when we brought my poster home, Steve said, "I'll put yours in front in my holder that I've got the posters in, and we'll put it in one of those poster sleeves, and you can look at it and admire the Sam Raimi signature and all that stuff." Well, it stayed right over here in this room for a little while, and then Steve I think he bought us a new bed frame. Okay. So it had heavy metal pieces with it. And he had left it back here in this room. and he had one of those very heavy metal pieces, keep that in mind, leaning up against something, and either he bumped it or something happened, it slid and fell, and guess where it fell? It fell right on my poster and tore the poster just above Sam Raimi's signature.
Yeah. Yeesh.
And, and when I heard him say, "Oh shit," or "Oh fuck," or something, and I said, "What happened?" And he said, "I accidentally tore your poster, Dana." I said, "Did it tear the signature?" And he said, "No." He said, "I'll get you another one." I said, "How are you going to replace it, Steve?" He said, "Well, I was going to pay for you a new poster, and then I was going to pay somebody to get Sam Raimi's autograph put on." I said, "Don't worry about it. It didn't get the signature, and we'll just make do. But be very careful with your posters, folks, and don't have any heavy bed frame pieces around your posters because that could happen."
Now, see, you should have used that for a future thing where, you know, you wanted something and Steve said, no, we can't afford it. And go, remember that poster with Sam Raimi? You owe me.
That's perfect, TJ. Because
You've
yeah,
never used that? Boy, you're terrible. I mean, you're
I
so
was
nice.
I was trying to be nice. Yeah,
Well, if you ever something really, save it for something really big.
I fuss at him for so many things. I guess I was trying to give him a break.
Don't tell
But
him I said that though.
from what you're telling me, though, TJ, I shouldn't have gave him a break, right?
No, I said you should have saved it for some, like something else, another day.
Um, Candace said I was ready to pop with Noah, so I had to stay home in bed. Yeah, so she was getting ready to give birth to her son, so she didn't get to go. She said, but Chris got to go and meet her. He told her that his favorite film that she was in was House Arrest, and she said that he was insane. Sewer Batman Nerd says, I would have told JLC to go fuck herself if she told me to hurry along or up.
Nah, I don't know
I
about that.
don't know. Would you, Super Batman Nerd? Would you have said that to her? What?
That's like with the Dead Pit guys. They're gonna go to Eli Roth and tell him what they really think of him in his movies. No, they're
Bullshit.
not.
They're not
They're
gonna
not
do
going
that.
to. I can believe that they would not do that. First of all, they would not. They would. He probably has security. That's number one. Um,
Yeah, so they're not gonna go up. Yeah, hey Eli Roth, you suck, man.
I
We
mean,
hate everything you've done. Except
if
thank
they're
you.
walking outside, I would believe they could do that. Like I would. That would be. But in the actual event, that's not going to happen. That's
Well, here's the thing, and I'm not saying anything bad about CK, but CK is. I'm not mean in a bad way. He's a businessman. He is a businessman, and he's a fantastic businessman. He can sell anything. So I think what he's wanting to do as promotion for Dead Pit. This is what I think. It might not be right,
yeah.
and hopefully CK doesn't get mad at me for saying this. But he's using all this build up to them meeting Eli Roth as promotion for the Dead Pit show and the streams and all that stuff. That's
Eh,
what I think. Um, but um, well, it's almost 10:30, and me and TJ have almost went on for 2 hours. Um, yes, Candace, Jamie Lee Curtis has dry humor. And I've seen her do that a lot. I've seen her do that in um, it might have been that the night she came home or whatever, where she was talking to fans and they were just, but she was asking them something and they weren't answering. And Jamie Lee Curtis was like, how old? They were talking about somebody's birthday or something was that day. And she asked them nicely, how old? And they were just, blah, 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 and she said, how old? I just think that that's how Jamie Lee Curtis is. I don't think she means to come off hateful or anything. I think that's just, she's just straightforward, I guess, would be the best way.
she's from a different time.
She is from a different time.
She grew up in the '60s and '70s. Come on.
Well, Super Batman Nerd, he says, yes, Dana, I would have told her pretentious, snooty, uppity ass exactly that. Well, I don't feel exactly like that about Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's made poor decisions as of late, as far as cinematic stuff. But
He's only 2 years old now.
but I'm also like TJ to some extent that uh, does it really matter what she says or what kind of movie she's in nowadays or
Are you gonna start watching it if she's a total terrible person, mean to everybody, kicks puppies? Are you still gonna you're gonna never watch a single movie that she's been in or produced? How do you know what
but
she's produced? I mean, come on.
some people probably would, but not everybody. Not
Yeah,
everybody that says that. And I'm not picking on Super Batman Nerd. I'm just saying just because somebody says something doesn't mean they would actually do it.
people still watch Jeepers Creepers, and from what that director did, why you would watch anything he did and complain about anybody else makes no sense. Like what he did was one of the worst things you could do in the world,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
God will judge him. But I'm not gonna. Good thing he doesn't make any more movies because who would watch any of his movies? And really,
Well,
people keep.
I don't like the Jeepers Creepers movies anyway.
The first movie was okay. The second and third movie were bleh. I don't like any of his other movies. I don't think I've seen any of his other movies. I saw the other movie, the one I won't talk about, but I don't remember it. I saw it years ago, like when it was on DVD, whenever that was.
Mhm.
So, whatever.
Uh,
So, but
Blissful says that she loves sarcasm. She says she learned from the most sarcastic PhD holding SOB. Bless him, LOL. Uh, Candace says she was being sarcastic to Chris. She was nice. Yeah, I mean, I did not see her interacting with anybody in a way that made her sound like she was being, trying to be malicious, I guess, or hateful. Just, a little sarcasm thrown in there. That very dry humor that Candace was talking about. Some people had that. Um, and Super Batman Nerd's entirely entitled to call her a pretentious, snooty, uppity ass.
you
But
said if she said what you said she said to that guy, she
yeah,
would have said that. But then again, Dana's telling you the story. Dana's not saying it exactly like Jamie Lee Curtis said. Also, it's the situation. You got to see the situation. You got to be in the situation to know exactly what you would say. You can't just go, well, that's assumption of what. Like I'll tell this really quick. Years ago I was at a horror convention. It was Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich, and they were talking about Scream and whatever. And somebody in the audience. Now, the guy in the audience asked a question, but it was a general question that either one of them could have asked. It wasn't specific to their characters. It was just a general question about the Scream movies.
right.
So the guy directly asked um, Skeet Ulrich and not Matthew Lillard. So after Skeet Ulrich answered the question, he goes, well, you didn't ask me the question, but I'm going to give you an answer anyways. Now, if you heard that, someone tell you that they said that to you, the way you say the story,
Right.
you could have been like, oh, well, Matthew Lillard for no reason got mad at me and said, I'm going to tell you something whether you like it or not. And that's not technically might have been what happened. So, yeah, in the situation, you could say you would say that to them, but you don't know what the situation was unless it was you in the situation.
Right. It wasn't like I was filming it or, I can't do whatever tone that Jamie Lee Curtis had. That was just part of a bigger story that I was telling.
So I understand your side. I understand Batman's side, and I understand also that we weren't their side.
Hmm.
And what a person says as a joke could come off not as a joke, and
I still love Jamie Lee Curtis. I really, really do. I just, the experience of meeting her was less than I wanted it to be, or less than I had built up in my mind. That's why you don't build stuff up in your mind.
yeah.
That's the lesson, really, to take away from the
Well,
whole.
like the comment here about Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
Bruce
exactly.
Campbell is an asshole to everybody. And that's what he thinks people want from him because of Ash.
Yeah,
So, but I've heard people say, "Oh, he was a jerk to me." Now, was he really a jerk, or was he being Ash?
being Ash, which is what he thinks that you want him to do.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Now, Bruce Campbell was really nice to me when I met him years ago. I went up to him and he said, "What is it like to love a woman named Dana?" That was one of the things that he asked me.
yeah,
And I said, "I don't know. You'll have to ask my fiance because I think me and Steve were engaged at that time." And then, whether this is true or not, or he was just trying to make nice conversation with me, he said that he once really, really liked a girl named Dana and she broke his heart. So probably more than likely that wasn't the case, but he was just, try and be nice, make conversation with me. But a few years after that, me and Steve went to a thing that Bruce Campbell was having in Louisville where he had people come up on the stage and played like trivia games and stuff. Now he was sarcastic as hell to those people that came up there on the stage, but I think they fully knew what they were in for.
yeah. Well, yeah, but who's the horse?
Eh, yeah.
Who's the horse? Is it a personal friend of yours, or is it somebody who's a fan who? And did she say, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like seriously, or a joke? I mean, this she could have said it many different ways. Also, how old are the kids? Are you showing your 8-year-old Halloween? I would ask what the fuck was wrong with you too. That's what the fuck. There's nudity
I,
in it and shit. There's not just
it,
it's not just a horror movie.
Jamie Lee Curtis is also not the only one that has said things like that.
Yes.
As far as,
Let's get out of this. We're gonna be here
yeah,
forever trying to
yeah, I don't want to make anybody
discuss
mad.
people and whatever. It's like uh, you know.
Radhammer said he interviewed Bruce Campbell a long time ago for one of the Evil Dead games on PS2, and it was for a website. He said he dropped a bagel between his legs and spilled his coffee on his crotch. I can imagine,
There you go.
Blissful makes a good point. Whenever meeting a celebrity, keep your expectations very low.
Yeah. I met Tom Savini, and everybody said, "Oh, he's a jerk. He barely pays attention to you. He only cares about blah blah blah." I met him. He was fine. He complimented me on my shirt. He wanted to show somebody else the shirt I was wearing. He
Hmm.
signed. He was very nice. And then everybody's like, "Oh, he's a terrible person." It's like, well,
I'm sorry, I zoned out for a second. TJ, who was you talking about?
Tom Savini.
Oh, well, my experience, I thought that's who you were talking about, but I just want to make sure before I shut off my mouth. I was scared to meet Tom Savini for years because people said they had such awful, you know, interactions with him.
Yeah.
So I finally got up my courage. I saw him at a convention I was at, and I told Steve, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go up and I'm going to meet Tom Savini because I'm afraid I will regret this if I don't do this. And he was as nice as could be to me. I told him that, at one time I was really into special makeup effects and that him and Dick Smith really inspired me. And he looked up at me. He was looking at my face and he said, "I'm
Yeah.
glad to know that I inspired you, but I wasn't gonna." And I'm not putting people down that do this, but he's probably heard every single thing he could possibly hear about the movies that he's either acted in or done effects or stunt work for. So I just let him know that, hey, man, you inspired me. I like what you do. And then I had him sign a picture, and I got a picture with him, and I went on my merry way. You know, um, let's see. Candace says he definitely stays in character. Yes, I remember that, Dana. He said that he once dated a woman named Dana. Uh, Sir Batman Nerd says just like when and what I found out about Brian Peck. See, I had never heard this. That I'm not saying it's incorrect. I'm just saying I never heard this about Brian Peck, who plays Scuzz from Return of the Living Dead. When I heard his voice, I got sick to my stomach from the
Yeah, he's supposedly um, inappropriate with a minor.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm like, how do you talk about a movie like that and that you like in one of your favorite movies, a really good movie? How do you just not talk about that character, or can you not even watch the movie? I mean, as soon as he starts talking, he's not a main character, but he's a character for at least half the movie, at least until he gets killed off.
Hmm. Uh, Radhammer says he liked Tom Savini in the movie Martin. I liked his work in Martin.
He's not
Um,
the nicest character, but he's a good as far as his acting was good. Yeah,
uh, Kathy says, I agree. Blissful actors are just people with attitudes at times. That's something important to remember. They could be having a bad day. They could have gotten some bad news about something. Um, they're people. They have a talent, but they're people. They're human beings. So I think we have to, unless they've done something really bad, like, molested a child or killed somebody or something like that, I think that we maybe should give them a pass at times because they just might be having a bad day. Look at the Tom Savini stuff. Me and TJ both had good interactions with Tom Savini.
yeah.
But you might have 25 or 30 people that said, oh, he was shitty to me. Um,
By the way, now I have to search for that interview where Jamie Lee Curtis talks about swearing at a fan who showed them her movie.
I could imagine
Look for
like
that.
Bruce
I still
Campbell
want to find
saying that too. What in the fuck's wrong with you? If somebody said, "Yeah, I showed my kid the Evil Dead" or something like that, and I'm talking about the first Evil Dead. It's like, why would you do that?
I would have said, "Well, that's great for you. I don't know why you would do that, but sure."
Yes, Kathy, it's all about perception. But um,
All right, let's go. Let's get out of
yeah,
here.
I really am going to have to get off here, and I'm sure TJ's got to get some rest as
You got to
well.
stream tomorrow and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. You need your rest.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm a streaming machine, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But one of these days, it's going to catch up with me. But good night, Blissful. And so
You
I'm
might
going
get
to.
sick and cancel on me. That's what you did.
No, I didn't mean. I really
I
didn't
know,
want
I
to,
know. I'm just
TJ.
saying, you gotta get some rest, lady. I mean, come on.
But I want to thank TJ for being my co-host through this adventure through Creepshow episodes or
I appreciate
segments.
being your special guest, like it says down there.
He is. He's my extra special guest. Oh,
That's
dang, Dirk, you came in here now when we're getting ready to get off here.
Say bye to Dirk, the winner of was it February's horror YouTuber of the month.
Yes. Congratulations. I'm give the golf clap to Dirk and Darren for that. Um, but yeah, Candace has told me about her experience with Danny Hicks.
He's dead.
Yeah, I got to meet him, thankfully, before that
Did he
unfortunate
take his
thing.
teeth out for you?
He didn't take them out for me, but he didn't want me to call him sir, though. He's like, don't call me sir, and you know, call me Danny.
By the way, doesn't the winner nominate the next person or group of people for the next?
I thought that's how it went, but
Should nominate Dana.
yeah, don't put pressure on him,
No, I'm
TJ.
kidding. Dirk would never
I'm
do
sure there's a lot better choices uh, for horror YouTuber of the month than me. I'm just some poor slob out here just talking on the internet. Um, but anyway, I want to thank the chat for. We had quite a few people in
that. Nice
here.
shot.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, I got to turn around that way.
Point the opposite of where you think you
Yeah,
should.
the opposite way that you think you should be
Yes,
pointing.
yes.
Okay. But anyway, we're going to get out of here for the night. And be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be on here with Darren. we're going to be talking about a couple of movies that he wants me to review. So,
Battling accents.
yeah, yeah,
Dirk
my
and
very southern accent
right.
and Darren's English accent, which I absolutely love. I love that English accent or Welsh accent, I should say.
I have one, but it's intermittent. I don't have it throughout the whole conversation.
I noticed that I hear it every once a while, and
Well, just 5 seconds. There was a I was watching somebody was watching the Thanksgiving movie on YouTube, and they were talking about how the New England accents were inconsistent, and I'm like, that's how people talk. They don't. Every word isn't an accent. It's not like a British
right,
or a Southern accent. It's
right.
literally certain words you say are, especially in New York accent too. Every word isn't a certain accent. It's certain words that you can pick out.
Yeah, and it's sort of like an inflection on certain words. You can just hear it. Is Darren from North Yorkshire?
Ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He'll be on here, Radhammer. You can ask him.
Oh, Dirk should know. They just won the YouTube.
Yeah, he's from Wales. I thought actually where he was from, but I just wanted to be sure of that. But yes, he's from Wales. But anyway, me and TJ are going to get out of here and we'll see everybody next time. So,
Hasta
bye,
la próxima.
everybody. Bye, TJ.
Bye, Dana.